Hello, I'm Christiane Becht and this is Mikel Lizarralde, acclaimed medium from Spain, who's coming to Germany really soon. And I will have the honor and pleasure to translate him when he comes to Frankfurt in October 2017. So now we're meeting here at this exciting conference in Montreal, Canada on science and spirituality. Thank you so much, Mikel, for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule here. He's teaching, workshops, giving readings, giving talks, and being very busy. Thank you so much for...
Well, thank you, and thank you for the Frankfurt terrain for making this happen, and for you for taking the time.
Absolutely, it's such a pleasure. So for people, it's not the usual thing. Not many people are accustomed to somebody being a medium. So it's lovely we can hear a little more from you what that is, what your work is, how you do that, how you can teach that actually. But first of all, how this came about for you. So tell us a little more. When did that start for you? How did all that appear to you?
I don't really know when it began because I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I was kind of the surprise. So my siblings are much older than me, 13, 12 years older. And I was very much the weird kid who had this very imaginative mind, and I would have playmates. So my parents were like comfortable until around the age of like 8 or 9. I started giving facts and information about those playmates. I would start describing what it seemed to be my deceased relatives. So that's when they really started having a hard time. So I was always very, very sensitive. Since I was a little child, I could sense, I could feel the energy of like people were emanating, like their moods even, and the places. But I would have all these playmates that people thought they were my imaginary friends, and which then we found out that there were some of them were relatives who passed away before I was born. And I could foresee things that hadn't happened yet, or I would predict situations that were happening in the family, the outcome of them. So it was very much in my childhood, in my youth. My family didn't take it very well because they couldn't, with their Catholic faith, they couldn't quite understand what was happening. They were very much afraid, the devil and the purgatory, and the Bible says that that's not something you should be doing. And they thought that socially we would be outcast in a way. So they asked me to pray for the Virgin Mary. So I kind of learned since a very young age to change my words and give them information differently. And then they were okay with it. But truly, I cannot say when this happened, when I had this first episode, when I learned to be a medium. But there were a series of situations that happened between the ages of 9 and 11, and then again at the age of 12, 13. And that really kind of proved to my family, that it wasn't imagination, that it was real spirits that were able to give evidence, that they were able to present themselves and give facts about the future events that hadn't happened yet.
I even heard you saw past relatives, like real figures like you and me here sitting here.
Yeah, now it's changed. Now I see more like from the waist up. When I see spirit, I see more like the bust or from the waist up. Sometimes I only see their faces and their features are kind of blurry. So as the communication goes on, it becomes more and more clear. But when I was a child, I would see them in full body most of the time. So I started describing this very blonde, blue-eyed, 15-ish-year-old girl who was playing with me. And I found out later that it was a cousin of mine who was run over by a train and died like before I was born. Or I would describe this very old woman with like a peasant, like very traditional peasant, wearing like a black gown, and but there was something very distinctive with this lady, that she would have 6 fingers. So my great-great-grandmother had 6 fingers. So when I said to my family, no, they're not imaginary, they're real, they talk to me, and this lady has 6 fingers on her right hand, then they freaked out because I could not possibly have known that. So with time, it kind of evolved and it changed. I started getting more evidence that was more meaningful to the people, and the images started being more precise. But maybe the spirits also changed the way in which they were communicated to be more like a dance. I would call it like a dance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you give some evidence, something else comes, and so on and so forth. The evidence comes like in little pieces, like pieces of a puzzle.
Mm-hmm. So one piece of mediumship is describing these past ones that you see and gives out evidence, and another aspect, of course, is giving messages. I even heard you already started giving messages in school. And
well, not really messages. That was with the tarot.
Or some tarot reading.
Because I was so afraid of and my family was so afraid, of what people would say, because I wasn't very well seen in the Christian faith, that I kind of turned into the tarot because it was kind of more accepted.
Mm-hmm.
But then in school, my classmates, I made this mistake of learning a spread about love.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, 15, 16 year old, everyone wanted to know about their love life. This girl, that boy. So my classmates, other classes, even teachers came, and I almost got expelled because my principal called my parents that I was using the tarot in the classroom, and that there were teachers that were attending. Anyways, long story short, I then decided to go back to doing mediumship and to use the words that people would understand. Yeah,
and definitely you have a very long experience working as a medium, even at your still relatively young age. Now, having these gifts is one aspect of it, but having a profound training is another aspect of it that I also hear you emphasize again and again.
Yes.
So you had some profound training yourself.
Yes.
Before you go
my main training was here in Canada with the Spiritual Science Fellowship, where I came early 2004 and I stayed here for 2.5 years, and they helped me not only tame and understand my gift, but also be more prominent and learn how to work along with the spirit world and tell them how you need to work and how and to explain to you how they work. So it's a liaison. It's really a two-way conversation that I learned here. I also went and took courses at the Spiritualist National Union at the Arthur Findlay College in England, and it's really important, having training, having proper training from a very honest and a gifted medium or psychic is really important, because we don't work with machines. We're working here with people who have needs, people who have a heart. Sometimes when they come to us, they're heartbroken. They have needs, they have issues. So you need to know, first of all, how to deal with the person's needs, to learn how to deal with all the different characters that we find, and how to convey a message, how to deliver it in such a way that it's understanding for them. And then again, sometimes we find some information, even though I try to give them all the facts, we find some information that cannot be fixed or cannot have a positive outcome. So are we really going to say that if you cannot help it, if you cannot avoid that? And if you do say it, how do you say that? You need
that
to say
responsibility.
Yes, it comes with a lot and big responsibility. But the spirit world will never give you a message that is negative or that is harming or hurting yourself or anybody else. The spirit world, it's about, their messages are positive, it's about love, and it always have an uplifting message that comes with it.
That is so good. You add that to it and you share that, and that's all that I ever heard from you and other good mediums. So you just talked about what you learned in your training, and I know you have your own school and courses in Spain, and while you travel the world, you also became a teacher of mediumship. So I'm sure some people would like to know, is it really possible to learn that?
For sure. To a certain degree, we all have the gifts, but the gift evolves and develops differently, and it shows differently to the world. So it's like singing, or it's like piano playing. We are not all Mozarts, but we can all learn the language of the music. We can all learn how to place the tongue and how to place, the voice and how to use the diaphragm. So there's a technique. I'm not going to be Pavarotti ever, but I can sing. I have the natural gift of singing. So with mediumship, it's more or less the same. Not everyone is good at everything. You might be clairaudient, you might be clairsentient, you might be kinesthetic, you might, I don't know, see only animals or talk only to nature beings, the elementals. But we can learn and we can evolve, and once we know what our mainstream way of feeling and communicating with spirit is, the spirit world will help you build upon that and build that up in a way that you will be comfortable. So yes, we can all learn and we can all improve.
And I guess that you will pass exactly that on in your workshops, that people can discover what are your gifts. Like you mentioned clairvoyant or clairsentience, or that you see or hear certain things and maybe not others, that people can discover that for themselves in the workshops. And you give tips and tricks.
Oh, for sure. And assessment. And we give assessment. I think that's very important. And sometimes we have the gift, but no one told us how we should deliver a message, or how, and simple things like you don't touch someone, that you don't impose. That's very important to know. So what the Frankfurt Ring did is they gave me a push, and they gave me this wonderful idea of like taking the training we've been teaching in Spain, that it's a 2-year training, to Frankfurt now. And it's going to be based in 3 different levels. Level 1, it's going to be psychic. Level 1 is going to be clairvoyant. And level 3 is going to be mediumship. And every level will have basic and advanced. So people, depending on what they demonstrate and what they learn and how they relate to the spirit world, they will get one or other certification. So everyone will get their certificates, and at the end of the workshops, after the level 3 advanced, they'll get their diploma. So it's really, really interesting. But there will be guidance, there will be assessment. I often see many people who are very, very, very gifted, but they don't know how to relate to the people, or they don't know how to translate what they see, because the spirit world will communicate to you in a way you will understand. So it's a very particular way. In the end, no one can do it for you. You have to learn it for yourself. So I will guide you there, and then it's like swimming or like running or riding a bicycle. I guide you there, but you have to actually do the work, especially in this field where everyone develops it in a very particular and unfolds it in a very particular way.
And finding what your is. Great. We look so much forward to having you there in Frankfurt in October 2017. That's where now the training starts. It will continue in 2018. There will be more dates, I think in February and in May. Is there anything else, a last word you'd say to people that
I would just tell them to come along, not to be afraid. The spirit world will never try to harm you or control you or say awful things. They're there to help you, and they're there to show you their love. And if you think you have visions, or if you think you have a lot of imagination, you might be very gifted, you just don't know yet. So come along and we'll tell you how it's done.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what I can add from my experience of having been in your workshops working with you is that his workshops are just as great for beginners. He'll take you step by step through it, as well as for more advanced people, having worked with mediumship for a while, and you take them to the next level, offer different approaches to exercises, while at the same time it's for personal development.
Very much.
Personal spiritual development, whether you want to work with any kind of mediumship or not. So.
And then again, it's fun, because one of my spirit guides, it's a clown. So I get very clumsy and the words don't come out, and So it's fun. It's fun.
So we'll definitely have a laugh. We'd welcome anybody who's interested to come. Mikel will also give an open evening just before that, I think on the Friday night of October. Give a demonstration of his amazing gifts, bring messages from the spirit world, so that'll be a great opportunity to see that kind of work. And Mikel will also give some readings in those few days before. If there's any need, there might even be a translation, so you can check into that. And well, thank you so much again, Mikel,
Well, thank
for
you very
being
much.
here, taking the time, and it would be a pleasure to have you there with us in October.
Thank you.
When
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.